Before July 2025, a wealthy stranger will relocate you. There is a divine appointment set in motion, one that your senses cannot yet see, but your spirit already knows. A moment is coming where the limitations of your present will be shattered by the arrival of an unexpected benefactor, a wealthy stranger whose presence is not coincidence, but consequence. This isn't about luck. It's not about chasing or begging. It's about alignment. Life is not responding to your effort, but to your assumption. If you feel a deep, unshakable yearning to be moved, elevated, or rescued from where you are, it is because the event has already been set in motion. The desire would not exist unless its fulfillment already had a place in your future. This stranger is not just a person. They are a bridge to the next season of your life, a symbol of what you have finally believed you deserve. You won't have to search for them. They are being pulled by the magnet of your self-concept, guided by the unseen hands of destiny. The very ground beneath you is shifting, aligning events, people, resources, and divine timing. July 2025 is not a random date. It's a spiritual portal, a date that will mark the beginning of your relocation, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, financially. Prepare yourself, not by doing more, but by assuming more. Live from the place you are going, not the place you are stuck, because the stranger is already on their way. The only question is, will you be in the state to receive them? Your imagination already knows the stranger before any stranger appears in your life bearing gifts, favor, or a relocation miracle. They are first formed in the unseen chamber of your imagination. What we call chance meetings, or divine connections, are not accidents. They are arrivals summoned by the quiet consistency of your inner assumptions. You must understand that no one enters your life without first being invited by your state of consciousness. Every relationship, opportunity, breakthrough, and even stranger who offers to relocate you is but a reflection of who you have already assumed yourself to be. When your inner dialogue shifts from "no one helps me" to "life supports me," you open a new path, a new vibration, and someone, a person you've never met, hears that frequency. The wealthy stranger who is destined to move you is not truly a stranger to your inner world. They are a character written by your belief, cast by your imagination, and given life by your consistent emotional tone. This is the great secret. Your imagination is not merely a tool to fantasize. It is the divine power that shapes and directs the movement of others toward you. You are not waiting for the stranger. They are waiting for you to reach the vibration where they can enter your story. Imagination is the womb of manifestation. Every wealthy person, every helper, every open door begins first as a thought, then a feeling, then a certainty, and finally a form. Long before you physically encounter this person, your inner world has already scripted the moment. This is why your work is not to chase anyone, not even this wealthy stranger. Your work is to dwell so deeply in the assumption that I am meant to be relocated, that life itself becomes your servant. There are no coincidences. Even if the meeting looks random, it is divine orchestration. You pass by thousands of people every day who are not the one, because you are not in the consciousness that matches their purpose in your story. But the moment your assumption becomes unshakable, when you feel the truth of your new life before you see it, the stranger who belongs to that life is compelled to find you. You are not attracting them by effort. You are attracting them by being. Who you be draws who you will meet. That's the power of assumption. If you believe you are forgotten, overlooked, or unworthy of help, then even if a stranger stands before you with keys in their hand, you will not recognize them. But when you assume, feel, and live from the truth that someone wealthy, divinely assigned, and favor-filled is on their way to bless you, then all of heaven rearranges itself to fulfill that belief. They may appear in the form of a job offer, a mentor, a benefactor, or a casual encounter that leads to life-changing relocation, but behind their face is your imagination in disguise. The very spirit that birthed the desire for relocation is the same force that magnetizes the means for its fulfillment. You may be wondering, why a stranger? Why not someone I already know? The answer is simple. The next level of your life often requires someone untainted by your past. A stranger sees your present and your future without the limitations of your history. They are not tied to the you that others have gotten used to. They respond to the vibration you are now emitting. That is why the stranger appears at the right time, when your concept has elevated beyond your former associations. The old environment cannot sponsor the new version of you, so the universe sends a new character who can. And because your imagination has already rehearsed this moment in subtle, quiet visions, their appearance does not shock you. It confirms what you already knew deep within. You must no longer see imagination as childish. It is sacred. It is the blueprint of destiny. Every relocation, every miracle, every divine encounter is first imagined, whether consciously or unconsciously. That's why it is so important to master your inner conversations. If you walk around believing no one will ever help you, your imagination will produce evidence to support that belief. But if you begin to speak to yourself like someone who is worthy of divine relocation, someone whose presence demands favor, someone whose energy magnetizes blessings, then the stranger must come, not maybe, not if they must, because they are simply fulfilling the story you've been telling within. There is no delay in divine timing, only delay in belief. The moment you begin to live from the end, seeing yourself already in the new city, already settled into the home, already surrounded by opportunity, the stranger who is aligned with that outcome will cross your path. Not by your force, but by your frequency. You will not need to impress them. They are not coming for your effort. They are coming because you match the version of you who is already relocated. This is why the inner shift must happen before the outer move. You have to feel relocated before you get relocated. That feeling is the open door through which the stranger walks, and don't underestimate the quiet ways this may unfold. The stranger might not announce themselves with fanfare. They may begin as a conversation, a phone call, a chance introduction, but pay attention to how they make you feel. If they make you feel seen, supported, aligned, elevated, then know this is no ordinary person. This is your imagination made flesh. This is the echo of your assumption returning to you in human form. Treat every encounter as sacred. You are not waiting for them to come. You are preparing for what your imagination has already sent. In the coming days before July 17, 2025, you must persist in the vision of your relocation. You must walk through your current space with the confidence that it is temporary. You must rehearse your goodbye before the hello. You must bless your old environment as the launching pad, not the prison. And most of all, you must thank the stranger before they arrive. Gratitude is the signature of someone who knows the unseen is just as real as the seen. Begin to speak. Thank you for whoever is being sent to move me. That gratitude becomes the doorway through which they enter, and when they do, you won't be surprised. You'll know, I imagined this, I called this in. My inner world knew this person long before I met them. Your relocation is the outer manifestation of an inner shift long before your body is moved to a new place. Your spirit must rise to a new level. Relocation is never just about geography, it's about identity. If you have felt restless, uncomfortable, or even displaced where you are, it is not because the external world is out of order, but because your inner world has grown beyond its current environment. The room feels smaller, the people feel unfamiliar, and the purpose feels delayed. Not because you're failing, but because something deep within you is expanding. That expansion is the signal that relocation is coming. And yet, most people try to change their surroundings without first changing their self-concept, but everything in life flows from the state you occupy. The only reason a wealthy stranger would find you and relocate you is because your inner state demands it. You have become too large in spirit to remain in a space that no longer reflects the truth of who you are. The move is not the goal. The move is the symptom of your transformation. Your new location is not an escape from your past, but the embodiment of your becoming. You are not being rescued by a stranger. You are being mirrored by them. Their arrival signals the confirmation of the shift that has already taken place within. What you must realize is that life always moves you according to your self-perception. If you still secretly believe you are unworthy, overlooked, or forgotten, then even the best opportunities will slip through your fingers. But when you begin to see yourself as someone who is meant for more, not with arrogance, but with divine confidence, you start activating new levels of favor. Doors begin to respond to the vibration of your new inner tone, and those doors often take the form of people. You don't need to know who or how. You just need to stay in the assumption that everything around you must match the truth of who you've become. That truth makes the old place intolerable. It's not that you hate it. It's just that you've outgrown it. You don't fit anymore, and when you stop trying to shrink to stay where you are, that's when life opens a new chapter. That's when the relocation becomes inevitable. You see, everything is connected. When your thoughts shift, your emotions shift. When your emotions shift, your expectations shift. And when your expectations shift, the very fabric of your reality starts to rearrange itself. That's why you must stop trying to force external movement and instead become deeply committed to your internal evolution. Ask yourself, who am I becoming? Can the place I'm in support that version of me? If the answer is no, then don't panic, celebrate, because that inner recognition is the beginning of the move. Everything starts within. And if you persist in seeing yourself in a new space, living a new rhythm, breathing new air, then life will have no choice but to reflect that image back to you through people, opportunities, and divine timing. The wealthy stranger is not coming because you're lucky. They are coming because your inner transformation has made them necessary. They are responding to the unseen growth you've gone through in silence. When no one noticed, when no one affirmed, when you still praised and prayed and believed, that is what made the shift real. That is what the universe rewards. The stranger comes because you've silently graduated from the version of you who tolerated lack, fear, and invisibility. Now you are becoming someone who expects alignment. You walk through your current life with a knowing, I won't be here much longer. Not because you hate where you are, but because you've been called elsewhere. That call doesn't come from your mind, it comes from your spirit. It is the echo of a life already prepared, waiting for you to match it in identity. Don't underestimate the power of becoming. Most people wait for a breakthrough to believe. But those who experience miraculous relocation believe before the breakthrough. They already feel the new home, the new environment, the new routine, long before it ever shows up. They see the unfamiliar place as home even before their first step on its soil. That kind of faith is magnetic. It calls forth the stranger, the sponsor, the connection, the confirmation. Why? Because life always supplies the needs of your self-concept. If you see yourself as someone who is planted, rooted, and thriving in a new land, then life will provide the conditions to make that image real. But if you cling to the identity of the one who is waiting, hoping, begging, then the move will stay delayed, not because life is cruel, but because your inner world hasn't moved yet. You are the one who moves first, not your feet, but your faith. And that inner movement is what makes the relocation real. It is what draws people into your path who will say things like, I don't know why I feel led to help you, or there's an opportunity I think you'd be perfect for in another city. And while they may seem surprised, you won't be. You'll smile, not out of shock, but out of recognition, because deep down you already knew this was coming. You had already rehearsed it in your spirit. You had walked the streets of your new location in your imagination. You had already blessed the room you would sleep in. You had seen yourself unpacking, thriving, glowing, and now it's simply catching up in the physical. The world teaches us to rely on plans, on people, on circumstances. But your true power lies in your ability to live inwardly from the place you desire. When you do that, the external must respond. Your relocation is not a matter of logistics. It is a matter of consciousness. Every environment you've ever entered is the outpicturing of what you believed yourself to be worthy of. So now, if you desire a new space, don't try to manipulate it from the outside. Transform yourself on the inside. Begin to think like someone who is already there, feel like someone who is already supported, act like someone who is already chosen, because you are, and the moment you accept that inner shift as reality, you release the need to chase, strive, or worry. The move will find you. There is no limit to what can happen when your inner life aligns with your highest truth. Before July 17, 2025, your life can radically change, not because someone did you a favor, but because you honored the change that already occurred within you. You believed before it showed up. You aligned before the opportunity arrived, and now the world is catching up to the truth you've already decided. You are not stuck, you are not forgotten, you are becoming. And because of that becoming, a wealthy stranger is being stirred. They are feeling the pull of your transformation. They are being awakened to your vibration. They are about to become the reflection of the shift that already happened within you. So stand firm in that inner knowing, because your new location is not just a place. It's a mirror, and it is waiting for you. Desire is proof of fulfillment. Desire is not weakness. It is not lack. It is not a signal that you are far from the blessing. In truth, desire is the divine evidence that what you long for already exists, and is already yours in the unseen. The very fact that you can feel a pull toward relocation, that you sense a new life calling you, that your heart quietly whispers, "I'm meant to be somewhere else," is not wishful thinking, it is prophecy. That desire is the echo of your future self reaching back through time, guiding you into alignment with what's already prepared. The moment you feel it, the moment the hunger for more begins stirring in you, is the moment you can be certain. Fulfillment is not just possible, it's inevitable, but only if you don't smother the desire. Only if you don't mislabel it as fantasy. The world has taught you to be ashamed of wanting too much, to suppress your longing for transformation, for divine relocation, for a life that looks nothing like what you've known. But the truth is, the bolder the desire, the closer the fulfillment. You would not have received the vision if the provision weren't already planted in your path. Desire is not birthed from lack, it's born from connection. You desire something because it already exists. You are being magnetized toward it and it toward you. Your future home, your new environment, the stranger who will bless you, the shift in atmosphere. They are not figments of your imagination. They are destinations of your soul. The only reason you can see them in your mind is because they are real. That's the power of desire. It brings unseen things into conscious awareness. It makes you restless in your current situation, not because you're ungrateful, but because your spirit knows there's more, and this divine dissatisfaction is not a curse, it's a signal. It means you're already in transition. You have started the inner journey toward the life that matches who you're becoming. When you suppress desire, you suffocate your destiny. When you doubt your longing, you delay your manifestation. But when you begin to treat desire as sacred, as the whisper of God, the voice of destiny, the call of your highest self, you awaken a different power. You stop trying to kill your need to move, grow, and expand, and you begin nurturing it instead. That desire to be relocated, to be divinely supported by someone wealthy and aligned, to be rescued not because you're weak, but because you're ready, that desire is a door. And the moment you walk through it internally, life begins organizing the external. That's the law. First comes the feeling, then comes the form. First comes the desire, then comes the demonstration. But you must not confuse waiting with preparation. Desire that is not watered with faith and imagination will die. You must feed your desire by assuming its fulfillment. See the stranger's face in your mind, even if you don't know who they are. Feel the keys in your hand. Hear the flight being booked. Sense the freedom of new space, new air, new beginnings. Speak like someone who's already been chosen. Behave like someone who is already relocating, because the longer you dwell in the desire without aligning your identity, the more you begin to doubt. Doubt is what poisons desire. But faith resurrects it. You don't need more evidence. The desire itself is the evidence. It is God's signal to your soul that something is already written, and your job is simply to align with it. We've been told desire is selfish, especially if it doesn't make sense to others. But spiritual relocation isn't meant to be logical, it's meant to be aligned. People around you might not understand why you're suddenly unsettled, why you no longer feel at home in the places you used to thrive. They'll say, "What more do you want?" or "You should be grateful for what you have." And while gratitude is holy, it is not a cage. Gratitude and desire can live together. You can say thank you for the present while saying yes to the future. You can bless where you are while preparing for where you're going. That's not rebellion. It's obedience to the call. The more intense the desire, the more urgent the calling. Your relocation is not just about moving locations. It's about moving dimensions. You are being pulled into a version of yourself that can no longer fit the old story, the old environment, or the old limitations. That pull is what desire is. You do not need to chase the wealthy stranger. You do not need to seek out relocation with fear or desperation. The desire itself, when held in faith, will do the work. Desire acts like a spiritual beacon. It signals to life where you are and what you are ready for. It transmits your readiness into the atmosphere, and the right people, including the stranger, will feel drawn to you without even knowing why. Your presence will speak louder than your words. Your vibration will tell the truth that your voice doesn't even need to utter. And suddenly, without effort, doors will swing open. You'll be invited into rooms you didn't know existed. You'll be remembered by people you never met. You'll be guided to places you never planned. Why? Because you honored the desire, you stayed faithful to the unseen, you understood the sacred law. Desire is the signal that fulfillment is near, and when the stranger comes, and they will, you'll remember this moment. You'll remember the tug you felt, the ache in your soul, the longing that kept you up at night. You'll realize it was never just about the move. It was never just about a new address or a change of scenery. It was about honoring your expansion. It was about becoming someone who listens when their spirit speaks. It was about trusting the divine enough to believe, if I feel it, it already exists. That belief is what opens heaven. That knowing is what bends time. That faith is what causes divine orchestration to unfold around you in ways so precise, so perfect, it will feel like a dream. Before July 17, 2025, your desire will take form if you do not abandon it. If you cradle it like something holy, if you trust it as the language of God, the stranger who comes with wealth, relocation, and favor is not just a person. They are a response to your longing, a manifestation of your faith, a reward for believing without seeing. Do not silence your desire to move. Do not shrink your hunger for more. Feed it, celebrate it, speak life into it, because your desire is not asking if it will happen. It's telling you when, and if you can feel it now, then its fulfillment is already on its way. The wealthy stranger is a symbol of your elevated self. Concept: the arrival of the wealthy stranger is not just an event in your life. It is a revelation of who you have become. The person you see as a miraculous helper, an answered prayer, a divine connector sent to relocate you, is not here to complete you but to reflect you. This stranger shows up not because they carry the power to transform your life, but because you finally carry the belief that you are worth being transformed. Every person who steps into your world is a mirror of your current self-concept, and the wealth, influence, favor, and divine timing they bring with them are a dramatization of your own inner shift. You have risen to a level where life must now rearrange itself to match your new identity. The moment your self-concept upgrades, the cast of your life changes. The characters that once ignored you begin to disappear, and new, more aligned individuals, such as this wealthy stranger, are magnetized to you. Why? Because your world is yourself pushed out. The stranger is not the source, they are the sign. The moment you stop seeing yourself as someone who must struggle alone and start identifying as someone who must be supported, life responds by fulfilling that script through the people it sends. The idea of a wealthy stranger relocating you may sound like a fantasy to the old version of you, but the new you, the one that has been forming in silence, in prayer, in private, knows this is not fantasy. It is spiritual law in action. You've begun to see yourself differently. You no longer identify as invisible, as overlooked, or as just getting by. You've dropped the labels of unworthiness, brokenness, and delay. You've started to speak a new language. I am favored, I am supported, I am chosen, and that language has elevated your vibration. It has rewritten your energetic code. So now, only those who match that frequency can find you. And among them is the stranger with wealth, not just monetary wealth, but the wealth of resources, insight, access, and influence. They are not coming to rescue you. They are coming because you finally embody the identity that allows someone like them to show up in your story. This is why you must stop asking when the stranger will come and start asking, who am I becoming that attracts such a person? The moment you assume the role of someone who deserves help, divine intervention, and sudden elevation, life reconfigures itself to validate that assumption. and the stranger becomes the vessel. They could be anyone, a CEO, a creative, a consultant, a connector, but who they are on the outside matters far less than what they represent, the physical form of your inner transformation. The elevation of yourself concept is not loud. It happens in quiet decisions, when you stop accepting crumbs, when you stop explaining yourself to those who misunderstand your vision, when you stop settling for environments that suffocate your calling. That's the moment you rise internally, and when that happens, the world must rise to meet you. You attract according to who you believe you are, not who you hope to become. Hope may carry you through hard seasons, but identity is what unlocks the next one. And the wealthy stranger will never enter a script where the main character still sees themselves as undeserving. This is why you must become obsessed, not with seeking people, but with cultivating the version of yourself that is impossible to overlook. You must become someone who naturally draws favor, not by force, but by frequency. That self-concept does not beg, chase, or plead. It simply knows, I am someone people want to bless. I am someone others want to help. I am someone whose story inspires movement. And when that knowing becomes your inner foundation, then a stranger must appear. They are not the miracle you are, they are just the form the miracle takes. Understand this deeply. The stranger shows up not to give you something you don't already possess, but to unlock what you've already accepted inwardly. Their wealth is drawn to your worthiness. Their presence is drawn to your elevation. They are not superior, they are not saviors, they are mirrors of your readiness. If they bring relocation, it's because you've already left the old version of you behind. If they offer opportunity, it's because you've already stepped into your new identity. Their role is not to rescue the struggling version of you, but to celebrate the rebirth of the empowered you, and they won't even know why they feel so drawn to help you. That's the beauty of it. They're responding to a vibration you've been radiating from within. They're obeying a script written not by force, but by faith. So how do you meet this stranger? You don't. You meet yourself. You meet the version of you who is already supported, already favored, already established. And the moment you make contact with that version of you through imagination, embodiment, and inner conversation, the stranger will appear, not out of nowhere, but out of you, because you've created the space for them to walk into. If you still feel unseen, it's not because the stranger doesn't exist, it's because the version of you that allows them in hasn't been fully claimed. But the good news is you can claim it now. You don't have to wait. You can begin right now to adopt the self-concept that attracts divine connections with ease. Start by declaring, I am a magnet for favor. I am relocating because I am ready, not because I'm desperate. I am worthy of the people who are sent to bless me. This inner alignment is what causes outer miracles. The world is just the stage. The true shift happens in your inner state. The stranger is nothing more than the world playing its role, responding to the command you gave in silence. So stop looking for signs outside. Become the sign. Become the evidence that life must respond to. Dress, walk, and speak like someone who is about to be relocated, not because you're pretending, but because you're preparing. Your life cannot outgrow your self-concept, so grow it, nourish it, enlarge it, and as you do, watch how the characters in your life begin to change, watch how wealth begins to recognize you, watch how strangers feel familiar. Because they are, you've met them before, in your imagination. Before July 17, 2025, the wealthy stranger will come. But long before they knock on your door, you will have already opened the one within. You will have already stepped into the identity that made their arrival necessary, and when they offer you relocation, you will smile, not because you're surprised, but because you've known all along. They came because I rose. They are not the cause, they are the effect, and that is the truth no one tells you. The wealthy stranger was inside you all along, waiting for you to become the version of yourself bold enough to let them in. Time is not your enemy, it's your ally. There is a divine time code written into the very fabric of your desire, and it is not working against you. It is working for you. You see July 17, 2025, and you wonder, can this really happen before then? Will a wealthy stranger truly appear and relocate me? But you must understand something. Time is not your barrier, it is your bridge. It is not holding your miracle hostage, it is preparing the ground beneath your feet. The illusion that time delays what you desire is one of the greatest deceptions, because time only ever reveals what you've already accepted within. The manifestation is not waiting on more hours to pass, it's waiting on your identity to match what you've already claimed in the spirit. You are not racing against time, you are harmonizing with it. Divine timing is not about clock and calendar, it's about spiritual readiness, and when the soul is ready, time becomes your servant. The stranger arrives not a minute too late or a second too soon, but exactly when your assumption becomes fixed, when your inner reality is no longer asking if, but simply expecting when. The problem is that we have been trained to fear time. We think every day that passes without evidence is a sign of failure. We treat the clock like a judge instead of a companion, but time is not punishing you. It's positioning you. Every delay is an invitation. Every pause is a place of preparation, and when you begin to live in the knowing that time is bending to your inner world, you no longer react to external conditions, you respond from inner authority. You understand that when you declare before July 17, 2025, I will be relocated by divine favor, you are not making a request, you are setting a spiritual law into motion. That date becomes a magnet, a marker, a moment already wrapped in your faith. The countdown is not toward panic, it is toward fulfillment, and your only job is to stay in the frequency of the end result. Time will handle the details. The stranger will appear right on schedule. Understand this, you are not waiting on the stranger. The stranger is waiting on you. They are aligned with a version of you that is fully anchored in belief. They are drawn to the vibration of your settled assumption, not your desperate hope. That's why time is your ally. It gives you the space to settle into certainty. Every sunrise between now and that divine date is another chance to deepen your faith, to live from the state of already relocated, already chosen, already favored. Time gives you the room to rehearse your future. It lets you build the inner foundation so that when the outer blessing shows up, you are not surprised. You are prepared, you are not overwhelmed, you are established, because nothing is worse than receiving what you are not ready to carry. But when you use time as your ally, you arrive in your manifestation fully equipped to steward it. Time also has a sacred intelligence that orchestrates connections far beyond your awareness. While you are wondering if anyone sees you, life is positioning a stranger, someone you do not yet know, into the perfect location to encounter you. That alignment requires time, not because it's hard, but because it's holy. God is not just answering your prayer. He's weaving a tapestry of divine intersections that only time can reveal. The stranger may be finishing a project, making a decision, or experiencing their own spiritual awakening, so that when they meet you, their spirit says, "That's the one I'm supposed to help." You are not waiting in vain. You are being divinely coordinated. That date, July 17, is not a limit, it's a promise that all things are working together, not just for your good, but for your growth. So how do you use time as your ally? You stop measuring your progress by what you can see. You stop counting the hours like a prisoner and start praising them like a prophet. You begin each day not by asking, "Why hasn't it happened yet?" but declaring, "It's getting closer now. I'm being aligned. The stranger is on their way. The door is opening. I feel it." That inner dialogue rewires your relationship with time. You no longer dread it. You welcome it. Time becomes your evidence, your silent witness, your confirmation that what's unfolding is already complete in the invisible realm and just waiting to become visible. Your imagination is what accelerates time. When you feel the emotion of your relocation as if it has already happened, you collapse the distance between you and the manifestation. The future rushes toward those who boldly live in its certainty. That is why time favors the faithful. It rushes to complete what you believe is already done. But to those who fear and doubt and question every delay, time becomes a tormentor. Not because it is cruel, but because it's being misused. You were never meant to chase the clock. You were meant to command the atmosphere. You were never meant to fear time. You were meant to transcend it. And you do that by refusing to let the absence of visible proof shake your inner knowing. The stranger may appear to you through what seems like coincidence, but there will be nothing accidental about it. The flight you take, the conversation you overhear, the application you submit, the meeting you attend, these are not random. They are divine movements choreographed in time. The moment you declared your desire and believed it was done, time began reordering the scene. The stranger who relocates you is not performing a miracle for you. They are fulfilling a role in a script you wrote with your assumption. They will be compelled to act because the moment demands it. They will say, "Something told me to help you," or "I've been thinking about this opportunity and your name came to mind," but you will not be shocked. You will smile, knowing that time did its job and you did yours. You believed. There is still space between now and July 17, 2025, not to scare you, but to prepare you, not to punish you, but to prove you. This is not idle time, it is sacred time. Every moment is asking, will you stay in the assumption? Will you hold the vision even when nothing seems to be moving? Will you trust the invisible? If the answer is yes, then time will serve you. It will compress for you, it will honor you, and before that divine date arrives, so will the one who is destined to find you, not by accident, not by chance, but by perfect spiritual alignment, because time is not working against you, it is delivering you. And the moment you stop fearing it and start flowing with it, the manifestation will feel not only possible, but inevitable.